Hugo Viana, this is not Portugal. We are in the English Premier League and it kicks off on Sunday afternoon. This level of churn is very flawed and is a high wire act that I think is unnecessary. No sooner had Viana been given the keys to the castle, anything that isn't bolted down, he seems to be wanting to flog. And then what? Run to the market and hope not to get tickled up by Delboy and Rodney and replacements. It just seems a wholly unnecessary way to be behaving. If you're not up to date, last night David Ornstein reported, and it's been vouched for by TalkSport and people of that nature, that Tottenham are looking for a double deal for Marmoush and Savinho. Now, fine, right? If you want to flog them two, I think that's perfectly legitimate. One phones in sick every summer and has been trying to get to Spurs for well over a year now. The other, whilst has his qualities, clearly has his flaws as well. But it just adds some more uncertainty around the squad. I'll come on to who I think could be a good replacement for Marmoush, but you'll have to wait a couple of minutes for that. It might be controversial, might not be doable, but I think it's a good idea. But how do you think training's gone this week, realistically? No, forget, who's in the squad, who's not in the squad, who's good enough, who's not good enough. On a human level, they are picking up newspapers, so metaphorically picking up newspapers and seeing either themselves, as I'm sure I'm aware of, or a colleague being ready to be sold somewhere else. So how intense do you think training has been this week? Because I don't think it could have been that intense, could it? Primarily because we don't know Commerce is injured. But, if Savio's not even bothered turning up, Nico Gonzalez move on the table for Newcastle. Will he just, not be involved, talking to his agent most of the time? Marmoush the same. Like I mentioned, Savinho's not there. So, and the squad's pretty threadbare, isn't it? Sorry. So you've got Nico Gonzalez ready to go. We'll need a replacement for him. We've got Savinho ready to go. We're going to need a replacement for him. No idea who. And we've got Marmoush leaving, and we need a replacement for him. Now, hear me out. I'll put this on Blue Sky. I'll put it on Blue Moon. I messaged ASAM from 9320 about it. And there's been a mixed bag of responses, shall we say. But here's my solution to replace Marmoush. I hope you sit comfortably. Jackson from Chelsea, right? Put aside how silly it looks. So we've got their manager, we want their wing. Actually, we want the manager, 1. Enzo Fernández, 2. Gusto, 3. Pedro Neto, 4. Jackson, 5. There we go. We can call it Jackson 5 if you want. But when you think about it, and I have given it some thought, it's not just out of the top of my head. Jackson, right? Premier League experience, tick. You can argue about how good he is. Champions League experience, tick. Big club experience, tick. He's also played the role that we want. He can run for days as well, by the way. He can run for days. He was at Bayern Munich all last season, playing understudy to Harry Kane. That's exactly the profile we want. We don't want some guy who's going to come in and start jumping up and down like he's not played enough. We don't want to get. Sorry, it's work. We don't want a young player who, after 6 months, are going to say, right, I've got a taste, I want off. Someone like Jackson, get him on loan. If he scores 10 goals in a season, we'll give him 50 million quid. Now, he's already available. Leicester, Villa have been linked with him. So I think it's legitimate to say, well, take him on loan, and if he scores 10 goals, we'll give him 50 million. Because if they don't think he can score 10 goals, then they can't reasonably charge more than 50 million anyway. So, I don't know. Comment in the comments, please. But I think that is a goer. I think it's a goer. I do. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable that City are comfortable going back to the same club to buy half their team. I've made my peace with it. And I'm at the position where fucking anyone will do. Anyone will do. And sorry for the language. I know it's only 10 to 11 in the morning. I wasn't going to do a second live video. Well, yesterday's not went well. It was good. And obviously the news broke last night. So we'll stick with it. So Nico G, he didn't replace him. And who's going to replace Rodri. That is still going on. The Enzo stuff is what it is, isn't it? Is what it is. Now, we can argue it's gone on too long. We can argue we shouldn't have gone past the deadline. Where do we go from here? I don't know. But we have been linked with Wharton overnight. That was Sam Lee, links with Wharton. And you think, well, is that just a bluff? Is that a bluff to make Chelsea think we have other reasonable alternatives? But Wharton and Enzo, to me, seem completely different players, both from an experience perspective and a profile, the way they play perspective. You look at Enzo Fernández, long ball, fast passes, box crasher. Wharton seems to sort of, I don't want to sort of stand there and pass it. It doesn't seem particularly intense play, but I might be wrong. But even if I am wrong and they're right, is this what serious football clubs do? Right, Enzo's over here, right? 120 million quid. Oh, well, we won't bother with him now. We'll go to another £90 million target instead. Rather than go for someone with the same profile. It does seem a bit scattergunning and a bit all over the place, which I don't really like. But I said the same last summer. I said the same this time last year, one of my first videos about Donnarumma, because we just bought Trafford, obviously had a stinker against Tottenham, and then we were linked with Donnarumma like the last week of the transfer window. I was like, this isn't how serious football clubs behave, and we're not going to do it. But we did do it, so maybe we will. We're also linked with Kone from Roma. He was linked with United earlier in the window. French international, 50 million quid. Now, after Reijnders, I'm a little bit nervous about midfielders from Serie A. Obviously, there's going to be good ones. Obviously, going to be shit ones. And, we'll have to just see how that goes if it does get off the ground. But he played for France in the World Cup. I don't remember much of him, to be honest. I think he looks all right. But it's very hard to look any better than all right, isn't it, in the midfield for France when you've got Elise tearing it up and Mbappe tearing it up. Well, then again, he did play against Rodri in the final, I think, didn't he? I was a bit pissed, so I can't remember. And Rodri ran rings around him. So, no, semi-final, wasn't it? So, semi-final. So, is that a good sign? I don't know. Or is that just, again, a complete change of profile of player we're looking for? Because if we're looking at Enzo, look at this Kone guy, and you look at Semenyo up front and Haaland up front. The days of 100 million passes of Foden up front, Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, and Rodri, they're gone. Those days are gone. So maybe we are going for a more sort of physical, up and down type of player. I mean, if Arsenal could win the league with Madueke on the wing, then anything can happen, can't it? Anything can happen. I'll just touch on Bouaddi. Fabrizio Romano, this morning. Talks are ongoing. Well, what is there left to talk about? Seriously, what is there left to talk about when you think about it? We want him. They want to keep him. I mean, it shouldn't have gone this far. Are they happy to sell him? I think so. But they want to keep him on loan. Well, that's not an option, is it? And that should be made crystal clear straight away. You cannot have him on loan if we're paying 80 million euros for it, 100 million euros for it. Now, this kid, I've heard lots about him. Let's say he plays like a 30-year-old. Let's say he's got a head on his shoulders. Let's say he's a generational talent. But he's still a human being, isn't he? Still a human being living in France at the moment, who's going to be shot over to England at presumably some point early next week. And in this whirlwind of activity of players going out, players coming in. First game might be Crystal Palace away. That's not a debut you want to give an 18-year-old to, is it? So, it just doesn't add up. Whatever the issue is, surely a couple of million quid would have smoothed it all over. And if I hear again about how hard the sporting director is or how hard the chairman is to negotiate, I'll lose the will to live. I don't want to hear it. It's supposed to be difficult to buy 80 million euro players. It's supposed to be difficult to buy players that are top of the tree. But we're the only show in town. So get it over the line. Get on your bike. Get on your bike. You got to get on with it. I said it yesterday. The registration window shuts on Friday. We're now on for Sunday squad. We're now at nearly 11 o'clock UK time on Thursday, sorry. It's just not happening, is it? It's just not happening before Sunday. So what have we got for Sunday? Kovacic. That can't have been the plan, can it? It can't have been the plan. Whatever the plan was, it's gone tits up for whatever reason. Whether we thought we'd get Enzo easier, we thought we'd get Bouaddi easier, whatever it happens to be. We thought Spurs had got Savio earlier. I don't know. But whatever the plan is, it obviously wasn't this. Or was it? Or was it? Was it? I mean, I was listening to something yesterday about an SCR squad goal ratio breach for City that were close to the edge. Now, I don't spend my time looking at City's accounts, but if we were, surely would have flogged these players for a few quid less before the World Cup or earlier in the window. Leaving it till this point creates a whole raft of problems. Because what are they going to do if you breach SCR? Dock your points. It depends how egregious the breach is. They're going to dock your points, are they? Right, well, so what? Well, how many? Because if we get beat against Bournemouth, well, we've docked 3 points ourselves, haven't we? For this ludicrous high wire that we're walking. So I'm not really having it that it's a squad cost ratio thing, because we can always sell these players. There's always a market for these players. But one thing I heard about Marmoush going to Spurs, one thing about Marmoush going to Spurs, it has must have confirmed my original thoughts. Cheers, Mike. Thank you. My original thoughts is that I've read a blue moon time and time again that Marmoush, you can't be sold. He's on 350 grand a week. I maintained that was never a possibility. I looked at Frankfurt's highest paid players. I think they were on 60 to 80,000 euros. 6 days at 60 to 80,000 euros, right? Let's say Marmoush on a bit more. Let's say he's on 100,000 euros. Let's say it's 100,000 pounds at Frankfurt. What we trebled his wages, did we? Of course not. We were in the shit. We weren't at that much of this shit. We were desperate. We weren't that desperate. So no, I'm glad I've been sort of proved right on that one. Mike says wingers apparently are between the Diet Everton, Barcola, and Bayer PSG, Mane at Wolves. Right, I'll touch on all of them. And Diet from Everton, he was going to Saudi, wasn't he? And then wasn't. So, Saudi obviously didn't pre-close him. He doesn't fancy it. He wants to stay in the Premier League. We might have a sniff there. We might be able to do something with Grealish, hopefully. But again, this was weeks ago that he was on sale to go to Saudi. Weeks ago. Why hasn't money been put on the table? I don't know. Barcola, what was it, 130, 140 million quid to Liverpool? I can't see it. I don't think deals like that are done like that. I think they are well-tailed, and I think hijacking of 140 million quid is probably a bit too heavy. And Bayer at PSG, don't know enough about him. He's a young player, isn't it? Is he just going to replace Savio and hope we get a few more goals out of him? Well, that'll do me. And Mane at Wolves. Saw him a couple of times last season. And saw him a couple of times. Saw him on the highlights this week against Blackburn at home. And I think he looks all right. Apparently he's a City fan. I think he looks all right. Can't be a hard deal to do, can it? If that's what we're looking for. Yes, as I said, yeah, Man is a City fan too. So let's see if we can do that. Apparently City had to sell before they bring in. Yeah, well, if that was the case, and let's just say it is, well, then you have to actively sell. These places have to actively be sold before the season starts. Now we're scratching round. And if people know we have to sell before we buy, we're going to be selling low and buying high because of the time frames that comes in for the transfer window, which creates more problems. Yeah, apparently we're close on SCR. Yeah, I mentioned that a little bit earlier. You might have heard me, Mike. Probably we were. Maybe we were, maybe we weren't. Right? I don't know. I don't spend my time looking at these things. Well, so what? What are we going to do? Dockers points. Right, okay. I find that hard to believe with the Dockers points. We're going to lose points anyway if we haven't got a functioning midfield, aren't we? So get a functioning midfield and worry about the rest later. That is the way I'd do it. Get on the blower, and I'll sell these people cheaper earlier, and then have the squad prepared. Touch on the midfielders. You mentioned Wharton. I mentioned him. Alex Scott ran rings around Arsenal. Not looking forward to seeing him on Sunday. Coney I touched on Enzo. What do you reckon will happen with this lot? I'm convinced Bouaddi is a City player, or will be, but I think it's appalling that it's taken this long. Just smooth it over, get a couple of £1 million will sort that out. And it's Lille, for fuck's sake, not Real Madrid. Come on, we should be able to get players out of there pretty easily. Wharton's a difficult deal to do, isn't it? Because you're going to have to decide very. Or do you get both? Do you get both Enzo and Wharton? Do you do that? So you've got midfielder Anderson, Enzo, Wharton, and Bouaddi. That sounds good to me. Well, the little president might be holding it up, but you've got to make a decision, haven't you? You've got to make a decision. What happens if he just keeps holding it up and refuses to sell? We need another. Everyone needs a Fernandinho. Everyone needs a Fernandinho. Unfortunately, they're not that easy to come by. But the little president holding it up, well, he will, won't we? They play the weekend as well. Right, okay. So let's say we get everyone. Right, let's say we get everyone. We've got Anderson, Enzo, Wharton, and Bouaddi, right? How realistic is that all four hit the ground running? If you're paying £100 million, give or take on average, for each one, you look at City's, what is widely accepted as City's best transfer windows. Kolarov, Silva, Yaya, Jerome Boateng, and there was another one, I can't remember what it was, 5. Jerome Boateng didn't work out. World Cup winner, went on a career baby, didn't work out. Law of averages is they're all, one is not going to work. Which, I hope not, because if you buy players at that rate, they are unsellable, which is a problem because you can't sell them outside the UK. Not outside the UK, outside of England at the moment. We can't buy anyone. We can't sell anyone outside of England. No one can take these wages. I listened to something yesterday, actually. I think it came from the City documentary, which I've not watched. Not watched the documentary, actually. I don't. It feels like, from what the clips I've heard, it feels like I'll be intruding on personal grief, which I'm not really a fan of. So I might give it a bit of time between it being released and then watching it. But apparently, Khaldoon said there's no gambles. City aren't taking any gambles this summer. They're not taking any gambles. If you believe that, I've got a bridge to sell you. No gambles. Well, look at the sporting director is. Hugo Viana from Sporting Lisbon. Big fucking gamble. Manager. 2.5 years ago was at Leicester. Stormed out of Chelsea. 7 months ago. Cost us £17.5 million to get him to start. Big gamble. Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest. 16 million quid. Big gamble. Never played at the top of the Premier League before. Never played Champions League. Big gamble. Enzo Fernández. Even entertaining going for him is a gamble. Never mind getting him in and seeing how it goes. Big gamble. And Bouaddi, supposed to be great. I'm sure he is great. But getting an 18-year-old from France playing the Premier League is a gamble. Was it the wrong time to put a doc out for a new season? I don't know. He's content in it. People like watching stuff like that. I'm not interested in watching at the moment. I don't want to be reminded Pep was our manager, so I want to give a bit of time, let these new guys settle in. But I suppose if you don't release it now, when are you going to release it? It's Amazon, isn't it? That have tested it on best time of release, and they think it's the time to release it. Club admitted they gambled, but every transfer is a gamble. Well, everything's a gamble, but it's about, can you stack the odds in your favour or not? You might have a plan. You might have a plan. It might not work, but if you've done the preparation work and you've done all your due diligence and you've done everything you can reasonably expect it to do to ensure that the gamble is less of a risk, then if it goes wrong for the right reasons, doesn't it? Rather than going wrong for the wrong reasons. So everything's a gamble, but going into Bournemouth with Kovacic and Anderson in midfield is a bigger gamble than the 4 or 5 things I've just listed, in my view. Wharton going back up north, I can see it happening. I think Scott is one we don't get. Yeah, I think we just bought Bournemouth's best player in January. I think they sell another one. They sell another one to us this week. Doesn't seem likely to me. I was listening to something yesterday talking about buying Creepy. Creepy's injured for 4 months, back in November. Oh, they said, we bought Gundogan injured. Buying Gundogan for 20 million quid 10 years ago, who was material to where Guardiola wanted to play, Champions League finalist and all the rest of it, is completely different to going up to Bournemouth, who will want fortunes for a guy who just broke his foot. So we'll see about that. Could be January buy. Well, maybe he could be, maybe he couldn't. But we need players now, don't we? We don't have anyone. We don't have anyone. Our starting front four on Sunday is likely to be Haaland, Semenyo left, Cherky behind him, Foden on the right wing. Is there enough there? Is there enough mobility there? Foden's looking a bit weak. Cherky doesn't work particularly hard. Haaland's mobility issues. Semenyo's great. And behind them, Qadsiah and Anderson. I mean, it doesn't seem enough. I'm not interested in people talking about McKady playing or Monga playing. I haven't got time for risking 16-year-olds or entertaining the idea of if a 16-year-old has to play on the first day of the season, something has gone wrong during the transfer window, right? That is not in dispute as far as I'm concerned. And then look at the possibility of Jack Grealish playing. Fucking Jack Grealish in 2026. Again, the fact it's even a conversation about Jack Grealish playing in 2026 in Manchester City is an indictment on the sporting director, football director, however you want to call it. It's almost a resigning issue. It's absurd that we left ourselves so short. Talking of wingers, I saw something last night about what's his name at AC Milan. Leao. What's his first name? Someone tell me his first name. It doesn't matter. The left winger at there's not a lot there. And that's Rafael Leao. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rafael Leao, left wing. Apparently, going to do a swap deal for Ruben Diaz with him. Now, to me, that's cobblers. I can't see that getting off the ground. I know Viana likes a deal, but Jesus Christ, Diaz signed a new contract 3 months ago. Rafael Leao is 27. He fits. I've seen bits for AC Milan, bits of Portugal. Very, very streaky from what I've seen. Might be great 1 minute. Dimar said that was BS, but that's right. Yeah, but there we go. There we go. I mean, he's been linked with Galatasaray, Rafael Leao. So I expect that's just something put out there to maybe hurry Galatasaray up because they've been sniffing around Martinelli as well. But yeah, I think we've got a problem, a big problem. Our sporting director, seemingly, is a wheeler dealer. Now, he can be argued on one hand, great. He's found these players that are no good and found homes for them. Nick Gonzalez, Marmoush, Savinho, etc. But what about the replacements? You need to have. You can't just flog everyone. You can't just flog everyone and hope to get people in. We will look desperate, and we will be desperate. And if we drop points against Bournemouth at home, or even win but look iffy, people have us over the barrel. And I don't see how this is good from a team morale perspective. I don't see how it's good from a new manager who, let's be honest, the new manager, he hasn't got the greatest of CVs in the world, has he? He hasn't got the greatest temperament in the world. If you look at what he did at Chelsea, he hasn't got a lot of experience in terms of being at the top end of the Premier League. He was at the top end of the Premier League with Chelsea in his first season. Said, we've got no chance of winning the league. And then they fell off a cliff. Last year, they were third. He spat his dummy out. So, I'm not suggesting to spit his dummy out here, but what I'm saying is he's under pressure given his previous 2 seasons. And is the sporting director helping him with signings and with the structure that he needs? Because I mentioned earlier in the video, his training sessions this week, how intense could they seriously have been? Half the squad players have got one eye on the door. Who is bolted down that couldn't be sold? Haaland, Foden, Semenyo, Gay, Donnarumma, Guardiola, maybe. That's about it. That's 6. Everyone else for sale. Diaz would probably be for sale. Diaz would probably be for sale, wouldn't he? If it came to it. You know, Rico Lewis is for sale if it came to it. You know, so he just can't be right. Ignore him. I mean, here's another one. I don't see how he stays past his window. I don't see it. I don't see. If we don't sell any defenders, I don't see how he is happy with his role, because his role, unless again something goes tips up, we don't have a left winger and we have to bung him on the left wing for the rest of the season. I don't see how it works, because left back is Nico O'Reilly again, unless we have to stick him in midfield, which means something's gone wrong again. So Nico O'Reilly left back. To fit Gahey in, then we'll have to move everyone up one. So Gvardiol left back, Diaz, Gahey, whoever at right back, Nunes, and then Kusanov is sub centre half, and we'll move it around that way. So ain't no his third choice left back, third choice, and he was third choice last year. He got the against Burnham. He didn't play very well. He got taken off. So I don't see how he stays. Rico Lewis, there doesn't seem to be any links, even though there was sort of last season and earlier on. I'd sign someone like Brighton and look for a buyback. I wouldn't sign to fucking Leeds or some dead team like that. But again, homegrown quota, maybe that comes into it. But again, you know, the games on Sunday, the registration window shuts tomorrow, and what have we got? What's Mike put in? Donnarumma, Nunes, Diaz, Gahey, Josko, Anderson, O'Reilly, Foden, Cherky right wing, Semenyo and Haaland. Yeah, I mean, O'Reilly played midfield a couple of times last year, didn't he? Newcastle at home in the league springs to mind. But is he experienced enough? I can't remember who he played in midfield with that day. But it wasn't Elliot Anderson, was it? Obviously. So they've never played together. Both might want to go forward. Both might leave spaces. You know, Bournemouth are good on the ball, excellent on the break, fantastic work rate, Bournemouth. So, but then again, what's Kovacic going to do in there? So, you know, pick your poison, don't you? Pick your poison. So, yeah, I mean, looking at that starting 11, it looks all right. I'd want it to be stronger, but it looks all right. What's on the bench? What's on the bench? You know, is Savinho going to the bench? Unlikely. Marmoush going to be on the bench? Unlikely. Diego Gonzalez going to be on the bench? Unlikely. Doku going to be on the bench? No. Kovacic on the bench. That it. Makeda, Monga, Rico Lewis. Bench is the issue. It's horrific. And, you know, there's no guarantee no one gets injured or sent off or booked. And bear in mind, you can make 5 substitutes in the Premier League, right? So it's the first day of the season. Players are not going to be used to playing 90 minutes at that rate, so you're going to need to take people off and bring people on. You're going to have to bring people on and take them off and swap them in and swap them out. Bournemouth will have 5 fresh legs coming on with half an hour to go. What are we going to have on? What are we going to do? Bring on Kovacic and Rico Lewis? Fucking hell. Now I've said that out loud. What are the odds on Bournemouth to beat City? Let's do a quick odds on Bournemouth. This isn't betting advice. Odds on Bournemouth to beat Man City. This isn't betting advice. Do not take this as betting advice. Let me have a look. Let me have a quick look. Doesn't make for great YouTubing, I accept, but let's have a quick look. What are Bournemouth? 19-4. So that just short of 5-1. No, full-time result, 4-1. Yeah, it's cool. But Quid only get 5. Yeah, you get 475 back in winnings. I mean that's that is the best. Yeah, but you say there, Bournemouth's best chance to finally win at our stadium. They haven't got a point there in 10 years. So a new manager coming in under pressure anyway, and everyone thinks Bournemouth's an easy game, really, because it historically has been at home in particular. Bournemouth home, Palace away, Coventry at home. Right? Your new manager swung into City. You expect to win all 3 of them. No ifs, no buts. You turn up on the first day at the office, and Bournemouth either cause you trouble or get points off you, on top of what happened in the Charity Shield, it's not a good start, is it? And you can't really blame the manager. You can't blame the manager. This high wire, flawed act that we've got is problematic as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, I'll do a structured video. I won't do it live. I'll do a structured video, I think, on Friday or Saturday around this. What I think the starting lineup's going to be in a sort of review of the week to talk about this, rather than just me loosely reeling stuff off. But I think the long and short of it is we need to get players in quickly. Whilst we're sort of semi-linked, there doesn't seem to be a city of bid X for such a player that's been rejected. So Enzo Fernández, for example, we haven't bid £80 million and he's publicly been rejected. Pedro Neto, Gusto, Wharton, Kone, even, it's all like, oh yeah, they've been interested in, they've got some interest. Well, interest needs to turn into something solid, doesn't it? Needs to turn into something solid. What the fuck is Hugo Viana doing Wednesday? Why this crazy man can't stop saying that Man City players, that proper players? What's got? I don't know. I've just covered that in the last 31 minutes. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what his plan is. Someone mentioned is it SCR regulations? If it was, I think people would be sold earlier for cheaper, and would have tried to get some replacements in now. The long and short is the season starts on season starts. Gusto being priced out, removed. Yeah, I mean, that's 75 million quid there for Gusto is them just saying he's up for sale. That is not a negotiated standpoint. That's not like someone wants to buy my house and I say it's worth 5 million quid. It isn't. So, that is not a point of negotiation. You are just miles away from anything resembling negotiations. So, So he's obviously not for sale, which is, it just seems a bit odd, really, because I thought they like trading, don't they? I thought they wouldn't mind selling him for something like 50, 60 million. But yeah, right. So yeah, Jackson to replace Marmoush. That's my hot take after today's video. That's my hot take. Jackson to replace Marmoush. Enzo, will we get him done? Coin toss, isn't it? Coin toss. If Chelsea get a midfielder injured on the weekend, forget it. If we come in and start to lowball them, forget it. They were under 20 million on last Friday. We laughed off the deadline. So we can't go in with 80, can we? Not going to accept that. They look like tits. So I don't know how you square that particular circle. And then you look at something like Wharton, not going to be an easy deal to do with Palace. I don't think they're on any particular pressure to sell. He's had a pretty long contract. Kone at Roma, got to be an easy deal to do, hasn't it? Got to be. You fucking hell. If you can't buy from Lille and Roma, forget buying from Chelsea. Forget it. Let's. I don't know. I don't know how we square this circle of needing players but being unable to close any deals quickly and effectively and affordably. I don't understand. I don't know how we do it. But I think that's everything today to cover. If you've got any questions, just drop them in quick before I go. I do have a day job, so I need to get back to that. Diaz and Leao. Yeah, that's bollocks. We'll get rid of that. I'll bring that up again. What's this? The Rodri deal pissing me off. I mean, I find it absurd, and I'm not interested in hearing about how hard it is. The negotiations are. It's supposed to be hard. I'm not interested in hearing how much of a hard bargain the chairman drives. I'm not interested. If you can't get a deal over the line from Lille, which has taken 2 months, when we're the only show in town and we are desperate, and this guy's supposed to be one of the best things ever, then what are we doing here? I don't know. Right, okay. Right, what's the last one? Euros are like an older Rico Lewis. Oh, God. Oh, right. I don't want to hear Listen to what he said on 93.20 the day. He said this guy's the next best thing. So to call him an older Rico Lewis, sort of deflated my balloon. I haven't watched a second of this guy play, to be honest. I like not watching players that we're linked with and then just see with my eyes what they look like when they put on a City shirt rather than having any preconceived ideas or reading out the stats about progressive passes or tackles per 90 or out of possession, whatever. I'm not interested. I like watching and seeing. So that has depressed me a little bit, but I quite like Rico Lewis. I won't pay 90 million quid for him, but I quite like him. But yeah, well, on that note, we'll leave it there. So thanks for joining. If you're new and you haven't, please like and subscribe. I do regular videos, regular live videos. I have guests on, opposition fans, City fans on, all the rest of it. So thanks for joining. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Feel free to share it on your social media. And yeah, subscribe and press the notification bell so you know when the next one comes out. Thank you very much. Take care. Onwards and upwards. Take care.